What am I trying to hickey this mic or a little back a little?
Quit yelling.
I'm just learning from the professionals here, telling me to put the mic a little lower.
Welcome, cousins, aunties, uncles, nosy neighbors. You are here live at Calling All Cousins. Today we have, from my left, Justin Naytowhow. They'll introduce themselves and do their things.
So, ho. My name is Justin Naytowhow. I'm the owner of Kiyam Clothing Wear, based out of Prince Albert, Saskatchewan. And handing it over.
Hello, Danse. Asaskiga Sagwe Twitagos the Susaga Ganotsunya. I don't know what I said there, but hey. My name is Donnie Mcdonald, aka Emery Burningrass. Emery Burningrass is my sugar daddy, and we travel all over bringing laughter and meeting new people, and that's kind of what I do, and it's honored to be here today. Every morning we wake up, we gotta be grateful for for tuning on in.
And I'm Harlan Kingfisher. I'm the owner of the indigenous hockey clothing brand Smudge the Blades. And I'm on Facebook, Instagram, but obviously last 2 years I've been on TikTok, really pushing it over there, indigenous business and trying to grow it in the hockey world and trying to create space for other indigenous entrepreneurs. So that's me.
Copy. Danziga, Kato Carriere and it's Niga, so in Kaministo Managos ni Noche. My name's Kato Carriere. I'm from Cumberland House Cree Nation. And I've been an educator for 6 years. Just started my law degree now, so hopefully try to keep these guys out of trouble. There goes it.
Were you the fluent cousin or were you the language learner?
I was the fluent cousin because my Gugam and my Muslim raised me in Onion Lake, and our first language at home, I guess that's the generation before us, the fifth generation. Cree was strong back then, so that was our first language at home. So that's kind of where I learned how to speak my language, and very grateful to still have it today with some spice.
It's some brown sugar.
Next question is for Mr. Smudge the Blade. Feeling and hurt, still res. Who showed up for you when no one else did? Even if they were a little too toxic too.
Oh, when I was playing hockey, that was a big, time I was vulnerable and I was by myself out there, and as terrible as it was when we were playing hockey as an all indigenous hockey team, being indigenous and the bros that were there with me, we all stuck together because we all left our communities. We all kind of left to do our own thing and try to be this hockey player and try and live up to our community's expectations. And it was basically my hockey team that year, even though we were going through a bunch of stuff, we all picked each other up when people were having issues with drinking too much. We all carried each other through the season, and basically the whole hockey team that 2 seasons away basic cap were the bros that helped me along the way.
This next question is for Mr. Kiyam, culture and identity base. Were you always connected to your culture, or did you have to find your way back?
For me, I grew up in the middle of nowhere, so I learned a lot about my culture, my language, how to hunt and trap and all that stuff. And then into my teen years, I ended up in the streets, messing around with gangs and all kinds of bad things. So I have a taste for both sides of life on my culture and urban life.
Oh,
When did you first feel proud to be Native?
when I first feel proud to be Native. I'd like to say all my life, but I'd begin asking if I said that. I was very proud when I was Wasi and when I was a child to be Naytowhow, to be Muskegowin, and to be Swampy Creek. in our probably about grade 4, grade 5, I was fluent, very fluent in my language, and it became something that for some reason we look down upon. You know, I don't understand it today, and I don't know why, but you know, we would tease each other for speaking the language, and there would be that post-colonial shame, you know, for being Naytowhow and being Naynow, being Cree, that um, at least was present in my community. I can't speak about others, but I know that really shut me down from being proud of my language and being proud of my culture for many, many years. Um, it wasn't until probably I finished Bold Eagle back in Kayas, 2012, when I was about 16, 17. And when we were finishing our sweat there, um, one of the elders, our warrant officer, stopped and told us, he said, when you get to the graduation, you make sure that you're gonna do that warrior step when you hear the drums, because you guys are um no no tintigewak, you guys are warriors, and you don't forget that about yourself and about your spirit. And that's probably the reawakening for me, to understand it was time to be proud of our culture, proud of our language, proud of our identity. And I'd say that's probably the one moment where the lights went back on after they'd been off for so many years.
Well, I'll ask that question right across the board. Let's go down the line.
What was the question again?
When did you first feel proud to be a native?
You know, because I grew up playing, like I grew up away from my community because I was a hockey player, and it was pretty difficult to me, you know, being in Manitoba, so far from home, far from my culture, just kind of focusing on hockey. And then when I started, you know, getting involved in drinking and drugs when I was playing hockey and staying in Manitoba more, you know, I kind of lost my family in a way, and my friends, because I didn't keep up with anybody. And you know, when I came back home to the community before I went to go play university hockey, I was still kind of lost. I still didn't have, you know, that sense of belonging in my community. Because at this point, I was kind of ashamed of what I was doing. And then when I started my clothing brand, you know, this my first time ever starting a business, you know, Smudge the Blades. It was an indigenous hockey clothing brand that I didn't expect it to get as big as it got. But to see the whole, you know, First Nation community across Canada and the States rally around my brand and like raise it up to the highest level, NHL, they have gear and Oilers, you know what I mean? Like, to see that portion of it, I was so proud to be Native and indigenous, to see, you know, something I created to show our culture. And it's been an amazing ride so far. It's been 4.5 years.
So the same question to you, bro.
What's the
When-
just kidding. For me, I grew up in Onion Lake as a young boy. I never knew my dad. My dad kind of went for milk and bread and never came home. I guess, you know, my mom and my dad were never really a couple. It was kind of like a one night stand thing. So I guess, you know, why I mentioned that is because, you know, with that, like, I was never really planned out, I guess. You know, it was kind of an accident. Just kidding. But,
A happy one.
but you know, I was reminded that quite a bit growing up from the aunties and stuff like that. And, you know, whatever. People, it was tough, you know. And then as a young boy, I was bullied as well. So the bullying was tough. It was from adults and bigger kids. And, you know, I'm just glad that my grandparents took me in. And, you know, with that, I was taught a lot of tools as a young boy. I was taught how to sew, how to beat. I was taught how to hunt. I was taught how to mechanic. We were poor in that era, and you know, we made things happen. I was taught how to garden. I was taught how to dry meat. So you know, it was kind of like cultural camp, 24/7, growing up, chopping wood, bringing it. Um, you know, I really loved to play hockey as a young boy, but you know, I didn't have a mom or dad or rich parents or anybody to put me in hockey. And you know, I scraped ponds my whole life, and I think with that came with a lot of exercise, and I ate moose meat, so I was a very healthy young man. Eh? The language was strong. The language was always there. So at an early age, I was proud. But there came a time where my innocence was taken at an early age. I was sexually abused. So I had to face that, and it made me feel less of myself. Always ashamed of who I was after that happened, and I just lived it. I blocked it out, and I was sure next time nothing like this was going to happen. So all my life, I always had a weapon nearby. I always knew it because nobody wasn't going to do this to me anymore. I had to figure that out, and so as life went on, it went on. 14 years old, my grandma got sick, and she's the one who nurtured me. She's the one who taught me how to cook. She's the one who showed me love. My grandpa, on the other hand, he was a residential school survivor, so there was a lot of cold love there. It kind of always seemed, but I knew he did care for me because he was proud of who I was. And as time went on, midgets, I had an opportunity to play hockey, and my uncle took me there, and I played half a year midgets. I didn't know what offside was or nothing like that, and people were laughing, and it was all that all the time. Like it just seems like nobody wouldn't let me be proud, right? And but I think where you find that pride is within yourself. So with that, I kept playing hockey. For a guy who's never been to a hockey school or played organized hockey, I ended up playing junior. I played under Ted Nolan. So that was something that I really out of jail, and I wanted a new path for myself, and that's why I say culture is very important. And as a young boy, I had a dream to dance traditional powwow, and again, there was nobody there. I got given a bachelor unit in Onion Lake, and I didn't know I was an artist. In 2016, I won Walrus Talks Arts Contest, which is 18 invited artists across Canada. And I won that in Edmonton. And, prior to that, though, what got me to even compete and be at that level was culture. I created my first powwow outfit when I was 26, and I had a glue gun and everything. And, I was on my healing journey. So I went to the edge of Onion Lake, and my grandpa gave me $20, and I stuck my hand out like this, and I caught a ride to my first powwow. Grand entry came on, and I had doubts, like maybe I shouldn't go in here, and that was my worst enemy, doubting myself. But I went in there, and where this is ending is the heartbeat of the drum. As soon as I came in grand entry, I started coming in, and that drum made me move, and I was proud to be First Nation. I was proud to be a warrior. And as soon as I looked back behind me, I seen all the traditional dancers. Every time I would do a move, they did the exact same move. Just kidding. But so I did the grand entry, and this is where I fell in love with powwow. And then kind of has a funny kick to the story. After grand entry, there was intertribals. So I started dancing these intertribals, and somebody patted me in the back, and I went, "What?" He said, "You're dropping your feathers." So I looked behind me, and there was feathers, my bustle. It was a real hot day that day, and the sun came out, started melting the glue sticks on my outfit, and it was falling apart. But I felt like quitting, giving up there. But I came back, and I taught myself how to become an artist, how to make regalias. And with that, I probably helped over 100 people start dancing in the 11 years that I danced powwow. And trying to bring culture back like that, and trying to help in any which way possible, I guess, because being proud is a good thing, and every First Nation youth, young, old, should be proud of who they are. So that's where I felt proud first time in my life at 26 years old. So, hey.
Same question, brother.
Oh, I wish I spoke first. Okay, what was that again there?
When did you first feel proud?
Proud. When did I first feel proud? Just like the rest of my cousins here. I grew up on the reserve. Like to say I grew up in the middle of nowhere, but in the middle of nowhere is Palworth and Sandy Lake. And there wasn't a big community there. There's only a few houses and just pretty much just their family, eh? And we were hunters, and a lot of them, all my brothers over there and my sisters were all fluent in Cree. My cook and my mushroom, everybody was fluent. But me, I was sent to a lot of Munyao schools, eh? So I didn't get that opportunity to learn as much as I wanted to. And when I did go to school, it was mostly French and other stuff. But for me, I was always proud of being a native because that's the way we were. And that's the lifestyle I knew as we used to hunt in packs. Uncles would go out, or my brothers would go out and would come home and they'd bring home the moose, the deer, whatever, and they'd lay it down for us. And they would say, yeah, since you guys are the younger guys, you guys get to learn how to cut up the meat, how to do all that stuff. We went out, we hunted, you guys learned from there. And next time you guys come out with us. So that's how I learned. And, I've always been pretty proud of that. And with me, I didn't grow up with my mom or dad or anybody like that. But my dad, he was out there. Hey, he was in the POW circuit. My cookum too, she was POW. So my dad was he was a champion fancy dancer, and he would go all over, but he would always mail me stuff from each city or each POW that he was at. He would mail stuff back to where I was living, so I would have something to remember. And so with my mom too, but she was out all over Canada, sending me gifts from random places, and that's how I knew my parents. But the way I grew up was the old style, the old life. And for me, I've always been proud of who I am. I've been to a lot of Munyao schools, like white schools, and I was always just the native that was there, the only native sometimes in the town that I grew up in, and that's a battle in its own because it is a lot of stuff go on with that, being that person. But I got through all of that, and later on when I grew up in life, I ended up in Prince Albert, and then I started learning about the street life. Hey, all my bros, all my homies, the guys that got my back. It's not always like that. They're not always going to be there to back you up and help you. That brotherhood, it's there, but it's not there. When stuff gets deep, they're not going to be there. You end up in jail, they're not going to come see you there. And I understand that from a long, from my youth. At that point in my life, I had people trying to stab me up, trying to jump me, home invade me. And I had my first little brother at that time. I grew up all my life by myself. My little brother there, guys are trying to home invade me. And I looked behind me and I seen my little brother. I said, this can't happen. I was lucky one of my uncles were there. He was, guys, stop, they quit. I got sent back to my reserve, Sturgeon Lake, where my mom was from and my family. From there, I said, you know what? I'm going to change my life. I'm going to go back to what I know. So I went back. I started doing my ceremonies, started learning, started to be different, starting to be better. All of a sudden, within a few years, I was Sturgeon Lake Idol, Sturgeon Lake Youth Role Model, Sturgeon Lake Junior Chief, because I wanted to change my life. I wanted to make it better for my family, for my brothers and sisters. So I understand a lot that goes on, and I've always been proud of who I am as a Native First Nation. I'm a bear dancer now. My dad danced me in. So I'm so proud of that, I had the opportunity to be danced in a long time ago, but I said, you know what? My kids go first. My kids are first. I made all their regalia, got them all in, got them all initiated before I would do myself, because nobody did that for me. So I took care of them. But yeah, that's some of my story. But I'm proud. I've always been proud, and I won't let anybody take that away from me. Thanks.
Those are deep answers. And I appreciate it. I appreciate it so much, you guys. What would your younger self say if they saw you now?
Oh, I'm gonna cry. Yeah.
That's okay.
No,
I'm
no.
not supposed to cry. We weren't taught that.
Yeah, for me, my younger self, if I seen myself from where I was to where I am now, I would be proud, because when I was in that stage and that lifestyle, I didn't even think I would make it past 23 years old. I was so deep into the streets. Like that's either I would have got killed, I would have killed somebody, or I would have been doing life somewhere, because that's how bad it was. But I'm proud. And you know, I'm sober too now too. I've been sober for 5 years. And with that, I almost lost my family. I lost my almost lost my drivers. I lost everything. And that was like 7 years ago. No education. I didn't finish my grade 12. So from being that kid to where I'm at now, man, I'm so proud of myself for going through those battles. Because I told myself, I can't let my kids see me drunk. I can't let them live this lifestyle that I grew up in. You know, and I'm just happy to still be around, to be telling stories. But yeah, that's what I'd say. Just good job there, Kiyam. Hey.
What's the question?
What would your younger self say to you now?
I don't know, like I guess like I don't know. I don't consider myself any different than anybody. Like I try stay and stick to I don't know, trying to be practice being humble and letting people know that I'm just an ordinary Indian myself too, right? And as a young boy looking to see where I am today, like I never really had those dreams, I guess, or had dreams of becoming like a cop or a firefighter or something like that. Education wise or nothing like that. I just kind of live day to day because like I don't even have a grade 12. I did grade 4 3 times, so I guess you can say I have a grade 12. But I never went to high school. I went to school high. Just kidding. Kind of, I guess, just live day to day. And for me, I don't think I'm any higher or better, or just I don't see myself. I'm just out here visiting, making people laugh, I guess, and call it a job if you want. But the creator, I guess, it's in his hands, and just grateful for waking up every day. I don't really like to make plans, or I just live for the moment, and still who I am from a young boy, catching gophers on the reserve, and cooking them over a fire, and go swimming, and come out, pull the bloodsuckers off, and I still live that lifestyle today. I choose to live there. I choose just to stay where I am, and as for seeing myself up there or higher like that, I don't want to really talk about that, because I'm just like you and you're like me, and we're all equal, right?
Mm-hmm. Top point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, when I think of that question about going back to what my younger self would say to me, is I think back to like 14-year-old Harlan, on the res just north. I live on the north side of the reserve. All our houses were spread apart. I had a huge pond in my yard, and I spent 6, 7, 8 hours a day playing hockey on that pond. My lungs were burning, -30, -40. I'd go cry on that pond because I get so worried about the future. Because after I got into some stuff with my cousins when I was 14, my dad had a big talk with me, and basically after that talk, he kind of changed my mindset of like maybe like I don't like maybe there is no future for me. Maybe I'm stuck here, and I'll never leave the reserve because we're so far. There's so much other opportunities for non-Indigenous kids that it takes us 10 times harder to even make it to the next level of hockey or whatever sport we're doing. So I spent so much time on that ice, crying and being scared and anxious. And when I was at that point in my life, when I was young, crying, and I just treat the puck harder, skate faster, try to get better and better and better. And now, look at me now, like I would say, like, yeah, we did it, man. All that stuff that I was worried about, all that stuff, all that anxiety, all that scared, it ended up working out. We made it.
Just like everybody else here, and in the Nasco Manip Matsi, and I'm grateful for my life and where I am right now. I'm thankful for all the people in my circle. That's the key thing that I like to understand is Nigan, my wife, my children, and all the good people in the life that keep your circle healthy, keep your circle clean. That's the important thing. And I look back, how do I want to do things, and there's not too much that I change, but I would definitely say to a younger version of myself, forgive yourself a little earlier. Don't be so hard and critical on yourself or your substance and alcohol abuse, and start to be around the right people and start walking the road that Mantu, the creator has put you on, and you're going to be walking it, and you're going to be proud of the way you're walking it, and you're going to be proud of the people around you. So that's what I say.
It's just real simple. Pretty much all the answers are there. It's like, we did it. We changed. Like we all thought. Even myself had that same mindset. I'm stuck here. Because I didn't grow up in the culture. I grew up in that 20th in Saskatoon. That was our area where we grew up around St. Paul's and stuff. And I didn't know. I was brown, but I didn't know I was Indian because my family didn't talk about it. My grandma spoke the language, and she said, yeah, that's Cree. And that was it. But she only spoke it with her sisters, not with her children, my mom or my aunties and uncles. This one, she was with her sisters, she spoke it. But until we moved to Duck Lake, that's when I started identifying that with our culture. And then I started singing with the drum group in our school. But then, like you, I just went down the wrong path. Yeah. I grew up with the street and drug life. That's all I knew. So I did that for my early 20s. And then July 2nd, 2011, I know the exact date when I said, no, I'm going back home. I need to change the way.
I got, when I was younger too, like my mom took me from the reserve setting, like I mentioned earlier, catching gophers, swimming at the lake, scraping your ponds, and that was my lifestyle, hunting with my Muslim or whatever it was, and then for my mom to come to Onion Lake and take me for a visit, but really the visit was to Saskatoon, and then the culture shock came, right? And then I was enrolled in school, and then I used to try convince people I was a half-breed to at least be half accepted or something, right? But it wasn't working. And, there was a time there I got ganged up on in a back alley, and these young white boys put a bunch of tar all over my face, and they took my clothes, and now I had to back alley it all the way. People thought I was streaking. Just kidding. but those things, the traumas in that, and then eventually we did go back to Onion Lake. And when we got to Onion Lake, I pretty much jumped out of the vehicle and hid in a bush until my mom and them had to go back, just so I could stay in the setting that I was comfortable with and happy with in life, right? Because in a city, like you guys grew up in a city, right? So like, imagine if I would have stayed in a city and how crazy I was. Like, I probably would have been in the gangs as well in the city, and I probably would be in jail today, and I probably wouldn't know my language today. But I'm very glad that the grandparents were there to kick in to at least allow me to live, right?
So the last final question to all the res kids, all the res youth who think they're stuck. Are they stuck?
What I said in my language is, remember, only dogs get stuck.
I was waiting for that.
I know. I knew he was going to say that. But with that being said, thank you all, gentlemen. Thank you all for coming to Renero.
Where are you from? Tennessee? 'Cause baby, you're the only 10 I see.
What's my introduction again? Oh, sorry. We started a podcast called Calling Our Cousins Being Dusty. And we're going to shoot a short skit.
Might as well, since we're all together. We are live right here, right now. Get in here, bro.
I'm closer. I don't bite.
Come closer, Justin.
Justin, come on.
Okay.
Sit on my lap. Tell me a story.